The Louisiana Supreme Court has delivered a major ruling in a long-running legal dispute involving former LSU football coach Ed Orgeron and his ex-wife, Kelly Orgeron. In a 5-2 decision issued Friday, the court ruled that Kelly is entitled to nearly half of the multimillion-dollar buyout Ed received from LSU after he was fired in 2021. The court awarded Kelly Orgeron $8.13 million, affirming that the lucrative contract extension Ed signed in January 2020, just weeks after leading the LSU Tigers to a historic undefeated national championship season, was a community property asset, as the couple was still legally married at the time. Orgeron's extension came in the wake of LSU's dominant 15-0 season in 2019, capped off with a college football playoff national championship victory. That season, under Orgeron's leadership, LSU fielded one of the most explosive offenses in college football history, led by future NFL stars Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Burrow would go on to win the Heisman Trophy, and the Tigers would send 5 players to the first round of the 2020 NFL Draft, with 14 players drafted overall. The success prompted LSU to reward Orgeron with a significant contract extension worth nearly $42 million over 6 years. However, just 6 weeks after signing the extension, Orgeron filed for divorce from Kelly. At the time, the final approval of his contract by LSU's Board of Supervisors had not yet been finalized, a technicality that would become central to the legal battle over whether the contract, and the eventual $16.9 million buyout Orgeron received upon his firing, was to be considered joint marital property. The lower courts had previously sided with Ed Orgeron, ruling that Kelly was not entitled to any portion of the buyout since the contract had not been formally ratified until after divorce proceedings had begun. However, the Louisiana Supreme Court reversed that decision, siding with Kelly's legal team. Writing for the majority, Justice Jefferson stated, "The lower courts failed to recognize that even if the employment agreement could be considered a new obligation rather than a fulfillment of the requirements of the binding term sheet, because it was made effective during the existence of the community, the contract is a community asset in which both husband and wife have an interest." The court emphasized that under Louisiana's community property law, any asset or compensation acquired during the marriage is presumed to be shared equally unless clearly proven otherwise. Since the contract extension was negotiated and agreed upon while the couple was still legally married, even if formal approval came later, the financial benefits stemming from it, including the buyout, must be treated as marital property. The ruling effectively forces Orgeron to part with almost half of his $16.9 million buyout, which LSU paid after announcing midway through the 2021 season that he would not return as head coach in 2022. That announcement came after a steep decline in the program.